Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Jamar back from Vegas Scents. In this brand new video today, I'm going over 15 fragrances in my collection that are absolutely beast mode in performance. And just before I get started, just want to ask if anyone is a new viewer of the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also, please like and comment on the video and also share the video as well. I will be giving a fragrance away at the 1,000 subscriber mark, and we're almost there. We're at about 850 right now. So definitely help me out with getting to that point and also getting to the point to where we can monetize this channel so that I can give you better content. All right. So just to get right into the list here, the first fragrance is going to be Nishane Hacivat. So with this one, you get, just pretty much a really strong dose of pineapple, oak moss. It gets compared to Amethyst. This is a completely different fragrance in my opinion than what Amethyst is, but it does sort of fall in like that same realm, especially with the pineapple note, the way that it comes off in this fragrance. This is definitely one that lasts all day into the next day, especially if you spray this on clothes. And it's also one that you probably want to maybe wear in like the cooler months like fall and winter, or maybe even spring, but in the summertime, this may be too much. So again, this one is Hacivat by Nishane. All right, and so the next fragrance up, this one is going to be from the house of Alexandria Fragrances. This one goes by Hafez 1984 Intense. And so this is one of the flankers of the Hafez 1984 line that Alexandria Fragrances has. This one is a heavy dose of just like this sort of sweet tobacco. You get like a coffee note and oud in this particular fragrance. This one is really, really nice, but it's really, really strong as well. This is definitely one of those fragrances that you probably only need about 2 or 3 sprays max. And when you wear this particular fragrance, it is going to be, at least a 10 to 12 plus hour fragrance, even on skin. All right. So again, that one is Hafez 1984 Intense. All right, so the next fragrance up, this is going to be from the house of Nishane again. And this is it's one of my favorite fragrances from the house. To me, I don't really see a lot of people talking about this particular fragrance. I think this is one of their more underrated fragrances. But this one goes by the name of Wulong Cha. Wulong Cha by Nishane. So with Wulong Cha, this one, you get like this really strong blast of sort of tart citruses in the top notes. This one definitely, it kind of tingles my nose, honestly. So when I first spray this on, I try not to breathe it in too much because it is that strong. And then as this starts to, dry down, you get sort of like the spiciness from the nutmeg in this particular fragrance. It dries down to sort of like a green tea / fig sort of scent. This one is absolutely amazing, and it lasts all day long, especially in the summer months. So again, if you're looking for a super beast mode, long lasting summer freshie, go ahead and check out Nishane's Wulong Cha. All right, next one up, this one is going back to Alexandria Fragrances, and this one is their interpretation of Creed's Aventus Cologne. This one is Brasilia Cologne. So Brasilia Cologne, man, this one, it has that Aventus sort of DNA, definitely it smells very similar to Aventus, but it's Aventus with more of a fruitier take on it. It does have some florals in this scent. It has no sort of birch or smoke or anything like that in this particular fragrance, which makes it a little bit more unisex. But with this version from Alexandria Fragrances, once macerated anyway, this is definitely one that, even on skin lasts at least 12 plus hours. And you really get some beast mode sort of projection out of this particular fragrance, at least for about the first 3+ hours. All right. So I get really good performance on this one. Again, this one is Brasilia Cologne by Alexandria Fragrances. This next fragrance up is from FA Paris Fragrance World. This one is their take on Initio's Side Effect, and this one goes by the name of After Effect by FA Paris. So this one, when you first spray it on, at least for like probably the first few seconds, it doesn't really seem like it's like a strong scent. This is, basically it's rum, it's spices, it's vanilla, really beautiful fragrance. But this is one where if you spray too much of this, and I mean, too much is probably, I don't know, maybe 4 to 5 plus sprays. If you spray more than that with this one, this definitely will choke you out and probably everyone else around you. This one goes all day long. Definitely if you spray this on clothes, it'll pretty much stay there until you wash your clothes. And this one is definitely a good one to wear in the winter time. But even in the winter, even when it's super cold outside, definitely be careful with the sprayer on this one. I wouldn't go more than about 4 sprays with this one. So again, this one is FA Paris After Effect. All right, so this next one up is from Sensual Obsessions, and this is their take on the Andy Warhol by Bond Number 9. This one is their formulation of Andy Warhol. And this one, you just pretty much, you get sort of like this fizzy, sweet, almost sort of like blueberry type of note from this particular fragrance. This one is, and you get sort of like a woody sort of oud note from this one as well. This one, it smells really amazing, but you do also have to go, pretty light on the trigger with this one, because this one can also be a bit too much if you overspray it. It does give you the impression when you smell it off of the atomizer that it's going to be sort of like a light, fresh type of scent. But when you spray this on and you start wearing it, you definitely get that denseness that this one has. This one definitely projects like a beast and lasts pretty much forever. So again, this is Sensual Obsessions formulation of Andy Warhol by Bond Number 9. All right, so the next one up, this is definitely one of my favorites from Alexandria Fragrances, and this is their take on Xerjoff's Naxos. This is Alexandria Fragrances 1981X. So this one, man, is just pretty much it's citruses up top, it's honey, it's tobacco, it's florals. This one, it definitely is a room filler for sure. And it's also another one of those fragrances where if you spray this on your clothes, it's going to remain on your clothes pretty much until you wash them. Definitely, I tend to only wear this in like the winter months, or, pretty much when it gets cooler out here in Las Vegas. I could maybe see someone getting away with this one in like the fall or even the spring, especially if you live on like the eastern part of the United States where it doesn't get or stay super hot like it does out here in Vegas. But again, this one is definitely one that you do also have to be careful with the trigger on. This one, if you spray too much of it, even though it does sort of have like a sort of aromatic type of take on it or texture, this is definitely one that, I think it can come across as being too strong maybe for some people. But again, this one lasts on me all day long, skin or clothes, it doesn't matter. This one is Alexandria Fragrances 1981X. All right, so next up, this one is another freshie, and this one is actually by Maison Alhambra. This one is cloning Louis Vuitton's L'Immensité. This is Jean Lowe Immortal. So Jean Lowe Immortal is pretty much Maison Alhambra's take on Louis Vuitton's L'Immensité. And I could say that this is more of like a Middle Eastern sort of twist on that fragrance DNA. It does still have like that sort of wateriness that L'Immensité has, but there is definitely more of a emphasis on ginger in this particular fragrance. And it makes the fragrance, in my opinion, a lot stronger than what L'Immensité is. This is definitely one that projects, at least on me, pretty good, at least for like the first 2.5 to 3 hours or so. And then after that, even beyond that point, it never really, becomes like a super close skin scent. I still have a pretty nice scent bubble around me even after that, all the way up until probably 8 or 9 hours or so. And then that's when it starts to settle into a skin scent. And even at that point, it stays on me until I take a shower, pretty much. And, definitely this is going to be another one where, if you spray it on clothes, you'll smell it on your clothes until you wash them. All right. So again, this is Maison Alhambra's Jean Lowe Immortal. All right. So the next one up, this one is also from Maison Alhambra. This time they're cloning a Dior Privé fragrance. This is Maison Alhambra's Tabac. And this is their take on Dior's Tabacular. This one is another one of those sort of honey tobacco types of scents, except this one it's not as fresh, as what, the Alexandria 1981 X is. This one is definitely a lot more sweeter, denser, heavier. And this one, man, it's another one of those fragrances where you really have to be careful with how many times you spray this. I've worn this a couple of times when it was cooler out here in Vegas, and I probably went like, I don't know, maybe 6 to 7 plus sprays. And I mean, while I was able to get through it, I could definitely tell, at least for probably like that first hour and a half or so to 2 hours, it was a bit much. It definitely was. So this is definitely one that you want to be careful with, but it really smells amazing. Like I said, this is definitely a wintertime go-to for sure. And this one is, again, Maison Alhambra's Tabac. All right, so the next one up, this one is going to be from Lataffa. This is definitely one of the more popular Lataffa fragrances that have been released in at least like the last year or so. And this one goes by the name of Lattafa Khamrah. And this is pretty much a sort of angel sheer interpretation with a twist. This is pretty much, to me, angel sheer with, I would say, less emphasis on sort of like that, kind of apple note that, angel sheer seems to have, at least to my nose. So that it doesn't necessarily smell like a spicy apple, dipped in booze. That's the way it's sort of, angel share smells to me. This one definitely has more of sort of like a chocolatey or caramel type of feel to it. I don't get much spice at all from this one. This one to me is probably even a little bit sweeter than angel share. And it's not as floral, in my opinion, as what angel share is. This definitely is a lot denser. And it definitely is one that projects much louder than angel sheer for longer, at least, from what I can tell. So this one, man, is definitely one that'll last you all day on skin or clothes, 12 plus hours, and, definitely on clothes until you wash them off. Again, that's Lattafa's Khamrah. Next one up is going back to Maison Alhambra. This is their take on Dior's Oud Ispahan. This one is actually stronger than the original from what I could smell. And this one goes by the name of Maison Alhambra's Lowe. Like I mentioned just now, when I sprayed this on a tester strip and, also sprayed a sample of Oud Ispahan on another strip, I definitely could tell that this was definitely stronger than Oud Ispahan. And Oud Ispahan is one of the scents that people definitely, kind of hail for its strength and, its intensity. This one definitely kicks it up a notch. So this is definitely a fragrance that will last on you all day long. 12 plus hours, you know, pretty much until you wash your clothes off, you know, if you spray it on your clothes. And this is definitely going to get you noticed. It projects like a beast, at least for about the first 2.5 or so hours. So if you like really strong, woody, spicy sort of scents, definitely check this one out. This is Oud by Maison Alhambra. All right, so the next fragrance up, this one is going to be a interpretation of Oud for Greatness, which we all know is definitely no slouch when it comes to performance. This one is Paris Glorious Oud. And this one, like I mentioned in a previous video, this to me is definitely the closest Oud for Greatness clone out there on the market. Definitely closer than Lataffa's Oud for Glory. And this one, just like the original, you know, you're going to get super beast mode performance out of this one. When you spray it on, this is going to fill up an entire room. The sillage is going to follow you around, you know, feet behind you. And this is definitely going to be one of those fragrances where, you know, you spray it on and you're probably going to smell it on you the next day. All right. So again, that one is Glorious Oud by F.A. Paris. All right, so the next fragrance up, this one is a Rasasi fragrance, and this one goes by the name of Sotoor Taa. So Sotoor Taa is basically it's Rasasi's sort of take on the Gucci Guilty scent DNA. And this one is super strong, super beast mode. It definitely, when you smell it off of the atomizer, it does smell like a sort of fresh, aquatic type of scent. It does, you do smell some of the density, you know, off of the atomizer as well. But this one, man, if you spray probably more than about 4 to 5 sprays of this one definitely becomes too much. I also don't necessarily recommend wearing this one in like the summer months, because this stuff is really, really strong. This one is definitely one of those fragrances where if you spray it on yourself in the morning, if you haven't taken a shower by the night, you're definitely still going to smell this one for sure. And again, if you spray it on clothes, it's going to stay there until you wash them. So if you like that scent DNA that Gucci Guilty has, but you're not happy with the performance of it, definitely check this one out. This smells absolutely amazing. This is Rasasi Sotoor Taa. All right, so next fragrance up, this one is sticking with the house of Rasasi. This one is probably one of Rasasi's most famous or most popular scents. This is a summer banger. This one is Rasasi's Hawas. So Rasasi's Hawas, this is basically, it's similar to like that sort of Invictus Aqua type DNA. I guess you could say Invictus mixed with Invictus Aqua. This one just definitely has sort of like a spiciness to it. It's not like a super strong spice, but it is there. This one definitely has a note of cinnamon in it. And this one definitely in the summertime is compliments galore, especially when it's super hot outside. I've definitely had people stop me and ask me what I was wearing when I was wearing this particular fragrance, or just stop me and say like, I really smelled good with this one. So this one, again, this lasts all day long, and it doesn't matter how hot it is. As a matter of fact, I would say probably the hotter it is, the better this performs. I've worn this when it was over 105 degrees, and this has lasted me all day long. All right. So again, this one is Rasasi's Hawas. All right, and so the last fragrance up, this one is another one from Lataffa, and some say that this is a clone of Initio's, Atomic Rose. I've heard otherwise for this particular fragrance, that this isn't really that close to it. But regardless, this one is Badi Oud Amethyst by Lataffa. So Badi Oud, this one, you get like a sort of really sweet, jammy sort of rose with this one. You get sort of like a woody oud in the background. And I would also say probably some florals as well. And this one, man, is definitely a projection beast. I mean, this one, again, is a room filler. This one will definitely give you some really nice sillage when you wear this. And it's also one that you probably want to, really pay attention to how many times you spray it, because it can become overwhelming to, both the wearer and other people around you. But I do really like the smell of this one. Some people don't necessarily like this one that much. It was definitely a fragrance that the first initial time that I sprayed it, I didn't like it. Because, I don't know. It just really smelled like super medicinal to me. And I just wasn't really catching the vibe with this one. But the second time I wore it, which was, maybe a couple of weeks after that, after letting this sit, I don't know if the smell on this one just changed a little bit, but the second time I wore it, I absolutely loved it, and I still do to this day. This is Badi Al Oud, Amethyst by Lataffa. All right, so that's the list, man. That is my top 15 beast mode performing fragrances. Let me know what you thought of the list. Let me know if there's any fragrances that you think are any stronger than, what I have featured on this particular video. And also, again, leave a like, a comment, subscribe, also share the video. That's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.